Everybody, welcome to our podcast. It's episode number 20, which I cannot believe. We've been pretty consistent too through our crazy summer. We've done pretty good, maybe with the exception of 1 or 2 weeks. But this week we're going to spice it up and change it up a little bit. And so I want to just tell you, so this is my friend Paul Russo. I know everybody can see him. Paul and I have known each other, I don't know what, 4 or 5 years? Yeah,
something like that.
I think so. And everybody that's been following us knows that I used to teach things a little bit different than I do now. Not that I don't still incorporate a lot of the stuff that I use, but mindset wasn't my main focus. And so I have all these people and friends that I have met all over the country, and I just adore them, like true friends, not just acquaintances. And Paul and his wife, Susie, who's not with him, are two of those people. We've even cruised together.
Yeah, we've cruised together. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. That's the way to get away from humanity.
That's right. No cell connection, and with friends, knowing lots of people on the ship. Anyway, a few weeks ago, we made a post, and Paul had sent me a message to that post, and I asked him if I could just read that really quick, because that'll kind of steer the way that we're going to be coaching today for this live coaching session. It'll be fun for people to see kind of how our coaching calls go when we do them. So here is what Paul sent me. He said, "Here's my situation. Susie and I are up at 4 a.m. What? Yeah. Breakfast at 4:30 a.m. She leaves the house at 5:10. I leave for a 3 to 4 mile walk with the dog. And in the evening, we have dinner at about 6 p.m. and we're done eating for the day. Today, I have blood labs for my upcoming 3-month checkup with my doctor. There needs to be a minimum of 8 hours of no eating before. We ate dinner at 6 p.m. the evening before today. We are up at 4. Susie has breakfast at 4:30 off to work, and me with no breakfast. Off to your 4-mile walk with the dog. Lucky dog. My labs are at 9:35 a.m. By the time I get home, it's 10:30. I've made it through the first I need food, mind and body issue. When I start to eat, my body craves more than normal, so I'm hunting around the kitchen for more. I don't really need more, yet I'm eating more. How do people that listen to us, how do we work through this?" And it's so funny because I know everybody out there right now listening is going, "Oh yeah, you know that feeling when you're so hungry and you come in and eat and you're preparing food and you're eating food at the same time. And then it's just like, we call it a dam eat. The dam opens and you just go, whoa, and you're just eating. And it's like, you're like, I know there's no way that I'm physically still hungry. And yet here I am." So I actually sent your private message to Robin, and I said, it's so interesting because I know so many people relate to this, but yours isn't a one question thing. It's a multiple of things, because we talk about conscious eating, and sometimes there are a few things that occasionally block that, right? One is when we have to do a forced fast because we're going to get blood work or something. So you may actually feel hungry, but you're not able to listen to your body because you've got to fast to get that test and have the test come out right. So that's usually, I'm assuming that's not like a regular occurrence.
No, it's just, every 3 months, the doctor does a full lab panel just to make sure everything is, I'm healthy, all that kind of stuff. Is just the way he does it, which is fabulous because then I get to look at numbers. So, usually once every 3 months, but still sometimes outside of that, but really, excuse me, it just came to me with your podcast, and we've known each other with all your other stuff. And it's like, okay, great time to ask when it's on your mind. And let's just see, because we still do the recipes and stuff like that, you know, and all those things, so it just, it's on my mind. So I thought I'm just going to reach out, and it's been a while.
And I'm so glad that you did. And I hope other people know that they can reach out too, because that's the best way for us to coach, is when we get real live questions. That's a lot of the topics of our podcast come from things that we've coached on or that people ask us. And, to put it in other terms, and I'm going to turn it to Robin here in just a second, but maybe people aren't having labs done, but maybe you're somebody who's like, I was just talking to somebody the other day, and she's like, it's kind of the same, because when you when you have to do that forced fast, it feels like you're restricting, right? So it's kind of that same feeling of people who restrict for a little while and then they stop the restriction, and it's kind of that same thing where the damn eat comes and it just opens up and it's like, oh well, now I'm going for it because now I can eat. And it's just that fast-paced thing. So Robin, let's coach him on this.
Yeah, let's do it. You're right. Whether it's a forced fast from lab work, or if it's just like, hey, I'm in a situation where hunger is felt, I'm listening, but I can't respond to it right away. It's delayed for whatever reason. I don't have access to food or whatever's going on. Or if it is a fast that you choose to do on purpose, which is another episode, but when it comes time to eat, right, you are speaking to some of the things you said. It's like I already missed one, okay, and I went all this time. Do you notice how the mind is dramatizing the time in between, right? And an important thing to note is that your body never craves more than what is needed. It's not the body, it's our mind, right? It's the body saying, oh, I'm getting pretty full. It's getting a little tight in here. And the brain is like, but I was so hungry and I was starving. And right. And that's the mind doing that.
That's the whole thing. That's why you're standing in front of the refrigerator and going, well, I don't really want to eat, but what's in here anyways? Just because, it's like your brain's just like on overload from what it thinks is starving, but it's not. Right.
So your brain is actually doing the right thing in the way it's supposed to function in a state of deprivation. Okay. So there's environmental deprivation where truly the environment withholds food from you, and finally food comes, they come back from the hunt, and then they eat and store fat and eat as much as they can because they truly do have to save for the next time. Right. Then there's psychological deprivation where you could have, in your situation, you have a house full of food. On your way to the doctor's office, you pass 15, 20 restaurants, and on the way back, your environment does not contain, you're not in an environment of deprivation, but there's psychological deprivation where we think, oh, I'm not allowed to eat yet. I have to wait until 9:30. I'm having to skip my first meal, right? Your brain does not know the difference. It cannot tell the difference. And so it is biologically wired to respond when food is available. It's biologically wired to make up for it. And that's a beautiful function our brain has. But when it's in our case, where it's not environmental and it's psychological, that's where you get that push. And we call it kind of, one of the things that comes with the damn eat is that psychological deprivation, that once you do get access to food, you are going to behave that way, and rightfully so.
Right. So it's like your inner caveman or cave woman comes out and I sometimes equate it to like what was that show we used to watch about animals where they eat as much as they can because like you said, you don't know when you're going to eat again. And we still all have that, like you said, in us. And I guess the best thing is I passed by like 3 Whataburgers, and you guys are from Texas. So, it's like, oh my gosh, I need a Whataburger.
Right. So you're seeing the food, but you're like, no, I can't, I'm not allowed. And so we're psychologically feeling deprived. And so what we're doing is we're building ourselves up for that. When food is accessible, we're going to come in with that biological response. And so what we need to heal, what we need to switch with our mindset is to speak to our minds, to answer to that with food will be available soon, right? We want to take all scarcity out of food. When it says, oh, I'm skipping a meal already. Yeah, I am built for that. That is why I have stored away fuel, our fat, for a time like this. There is no there truly is no starving, because we're either eating actual food for fuel or we're using food we've stored away in our food storage for eating. The body never starved that day.
And that makes sense because, I can think of times when I just don't eat because, like Jennifer says, she asked me, are you hungry at 4 a.m.? And I'm like, well, not really, but that's when we get up. Susie's got to go to work, start your day, but we don't eat lunch until she gets home and we're hungry. you know, and dinner is when she gets home, she's usually hungry. The other night she ate, I didn't, I wasn't really hungry, you know, so which is
There you go.
what you're explaining is different because it's my choice not to eat because there's no mental pressure on, oh, there's no food. I'm just like, I'm not hungry. Jennifer says, you know, we hear Jennifer's voice, don't eat unless you're hungry. That's a good thing. No, that's a good thing because it's that to me, it's that mental thing again.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
reminder.
That's helping us out to quantify, should I be eating? It's like, I'm not really hungry, so you know, I skip a meal.
Right.
You know,
it's not gonna kill me.
And one of the things too that Robin taught me years and years ago, because I grew up where like, oh, dinner with the family is the most important thing, right? It's family time. I think there were commercials about it. Like we talk about that, and it's true. Family time is so important, but it's not the eating part that's the important part. It's the being together. And so like with you, where it's you and Susie and you're up in the morning, it makes sense, right? We've always been taught, well, yeah, we'll just sit down and eat together. So I like hearing you say that, you know, there was one night where she was hungry, but you weren't. So she ate dinner. Like you can still enjoy each other's company. That took me a little bit of a minute to get used to. Like if there was a night where it just happened a few weeks ago where I had a meal later in the day and dinner came, and I was actually pretty disappointed that I wasn't hungry because it was a dinner I really wanted, but I ended up saving the leftovers for the next day. But I just sat down with everybody as they were eating. Like that time was still there. It's about the being together. It's not about we have to be eating together.
And you know, and that's true. You don't know this, but I have a history in health coaching, and we would talk about how birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, it's all about food.
Yeah.
You know, and when we watch The Sopranos, I'm Sicilian, Susie's Hispanic.
Oh, cool.
We'd always end up eating pasta while we were binging on The Sopranos, and it's like, what for? You're not really that hungry, but it's like, man, that looks good. You know, we've got this stuff in the house. This is so. Yes, I you know, it's the mindset, the mind processing, the whole, and working with your mind. Instead of against it. It's like, it's like you said, mindset, you know, and just remembering. That's why I said, if Jennifer's voice comes into my mind, and I said, it's not a bad thing. It's just a helpful reminder.
Right.
That I can sit there and Susie can eat dinner and we can still enjoy each other's company. And then when we're done, do the dishes, go on about whatever. So,
right.
Yeah. I'm not depriving myself. I'm not punishing myself. This isn't a special strategy in order to get my body to lose that weight. It's truly like, it's not a need right now. So like I passed by the gas station with a full tank. Well, there's a gas station right there. The gas is on sale even. Well, I'm not going to pull over and fill my tank, right? So, you know, the two things you speak of, that's so great. You're already getting down the understanding and the mindset with Jennifer right there of like, yeah, the saying no to food when I'm genuinely not hungry, there's a piece around that, right? Now, what we were talking about earlier is the correction you want to make whenever, and this is for all of you guys, whenever you're coming off a fast, whether it's forced, whether it's chosen, whether it's just like yesterday, actually, I ate at 9 and I did not have access to food again till 3.
Right. Because there's so many times when you're out running around and you're like, okay, I'm really hungry. It like wasn't intentional, but it happened. So you're coming in hungry.
Right. I was in meetings till 3 on my way home. I didn't want to stop and eat something. I was on my way home anyway, and knew food was there. When I came to eat, this is where you want to do your work, Paul, in your scenario. Before you eat, and especially knowing, okay, I'm still getting used to going a period of time, like I had to fast for these labs. You want to do a check-in on yourself energetically. And if there's that rush of like, oh, I got to get to the food. If there's thoughts going on, I'm starving. I would take these things out of our vocabulary. I'm starving. It's been forever since I've eaten, right? Those kinds of things, those sentences, those thoughts give us that psychological response. The brain's like, we're deprived, right? Let's get ready. Let's get ready for the food to come so we can go at it. So change that language when you know a lab is coming up again, being like, yeah, until I'm able to eat outside food, my body will take care of me and eat the inside food. All is well, food is coming, it's abundant. And when it's time to eat, I will enjoy it. And then there's nothing to make up for. Oh, since I didn't eat breakfast, I got to eat more. I got to make up for the meal I missed. No, it's still the same. Your stomach will fill, your body will give you the cue when it's had. Your body's aware of how long it's been since you've eaten. And it will allow you and ask you to keep eating until it says, and good. Right?
Yeah.
It's still the body leading the way. It's the body knowing how long it's been. It's the body regulating all that. And then it's going to cue you, and you'll have a much easier time because you're not going to be in that energy of starvation and the deprivation. It'll be much easier to hear that cue and honor it versus when you're in that psychological deprivation mode that's meant to plow through those cues.
So what I've wondered too, in this whole vein of forced fasting, not forced fasting, where does insulin play into the fact that, it's used to its set time schedules, and it's that whole, I didn't get to eat. And so what is your insulin doing to you? And then psychologically, does that make sense? Because your insulin tank, it has so much, and you eat and and it plays with itself and all that kind of stuff. So I've often wondered, with my background, is like, where does that insulin come in? Because you eat donuts, you get too much insulin, and it craves food. How does that play into, or is it pretty much psychological?
Well, that's a lot of questions. So let's just start here. Those are all good questions. Sorry, I have a dog here that's bugging me. I'm trying to get somebody to come get her.
I put mine in my kennel because
Oh my
she'd
gosh,
be doing the
she's
same
such a
thing.
stinker. What I was going to say is, so there's a couple things to insulin. One thing is, I hear people, my husband was a really good one, a good example of one. If we went without food, he goes, I got to get food. I'm shaking. Like, my body can't handle it. And his mom was like that. So I just assumed, yeah, you're probably like that. Okay, it's probably genetic. I mean, his mom would come in my house at dinner when dinner wasn't ready, and she'd go straight to my cupboard and be like, I need to eat something because I need food, right? And I'd say, okay, eat something. Well, later on, as I learned a little bit more about insulin, and I'm not saying, like, there are health things, right, for some people where they need to do that. So that's not what I'm saying. But a lot of times I think it comes from like that health coaching and the way that we were taught in the past. It was like, you have to eat every 2 to 3 hours. We just did a podcast on this, or your body will eat your muscle, or you'll get shaky, or you do all this stuff. So there's one aspect of insulin where your body, like Robin said earlier, has the fuel it needs. And we need to do a whole podcast on this. When we're not eating, we call it, and we're not hungry. Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous.
Well, you said it was going to be a lifestyle podcast and not scripted.
She's pregnant, and I think that she's just really needy right now.
I didn't know she was pregnant. That's awesome.
Yeah, so she's like, can somebody please meet my needs right now?
Give her a pickle and some peanut butter,
Seriously, something. Actually, I really am going to have to send a text. Hold on, because this is going to be very disruptive. She's not going to stop. This is real life, you guys. This is
yeah. Oh yeah. That's why my dog would be sitting here wanting me to lock her in the kennel, not just put her in and leave the door open.
I may have to go to throw her in the backyard. He might be on a call in the basement.
I don't know what that's about, but
he works from home, and if he's on a call, he won't be able to do much anyway. So one aspect of insulin where this is what I was going to say. When you're going without eating and your body is like, yeah, I've got some reserves and I can attack those. We call it dining in. It's not that you're not eating. The food is there. Like, the nutrients your body need actually are there. Like, our body is equipped to do that and to take care of it. So once you switch your mindset and you go, okay, I actually am eating, that really helps the insulin in the sense of, when you can eat when you're hungry and you stop when you're full, you're stopping those intervals of eating constantly, right? Even if you're grabbing a piece of celery or cucumbers, like, we're not even talking about grabbing something maybe that we know is going to spike our insulin. But insulin needs those breaks in between meals. So when you're really listening to your body, we're not even talking about changing food here. It can be with whatever way you eat, whether you think it's good on insulin or not. Having those breaks in between meals really helps your insulin. And so that's the first way that we help our insulin. The next one is your body will start getting used to it, because if you're truly not hungry and you're going to eat, it's that constant this, right? Like one thing I noticed when I really started listening to my body, eating when I was hungry and stopping when I was full, I used to always get so tired in the afternoon. At 2 p.m, it was like a wall hit me. And the way I would deal with that is I would go probably eat some high carb or high sugary thing because it would give me instant energy, and then I'd crash again. So it was this constant cycle. So with the insulin, just really eating when you're hungry is your number one first line of defense, and stopping when you're full, and really not snacking in between. And if anybody wants to see that, the podcast, I don't know if you saw it last week, I think I called it To Snack or Not to Snack, right?
Right.
Like snacks are a great tool to use, but it's not a necessary in our daily plan, because it actually can work against us and the whole insulin thing.
Yeah, and I think part of it is, growing up in where you talked about family time is the meal, and everyone has the meal, and then you got to clean your plate, and so Susie goes, "Your plate is always so clean." And I'm like, well, it's just kind of the way you're raised, and
Right.
So it's like, so, we do the smaller plates just because there's only 2 of us and we don't really eat that much, but it's just convenient because they're on the top of the bigger plates. It's not like a force thing. It's just like the smaller ones are on top. So let's just grab those and just, but when you said that, I was thinking about, you don't always have to have popcorn when you go to a movie or if you're in front of the TV or something like that, because it's snacking and we all know people that just eat all day.
Right.
Right.
I used to be one of them.
And then they still have the big meals.
Yeah.
No, that was me, and that's even how I coached. So
yeah, and that's
well, and Paul, I would eat all day, and I would, in my head, I was like, these are foods that won't spike my insulin, so it's okay. Doesn't matter if I'm hungry or not hungry. There's nothing in here that's going to spike my insulin, so let's just eat it. It's fun. And that still didn't work, right? It's not, that's excessive. And I think my mind knew that, right? But it was like, but why? Like, I'm okay. But it eventually, now it's like, yeah, it works good. It's actually so nice, because if I'm really listening to my body and I am eating when I'm hungry, there's very few days I have more than 2 meals. There are days where I do have more than 2. Some mornings I wake up and I'm like, wow, I'm really hungry. And some days I wake up and it's 1 p.m. and I'm eating my first meal.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, we all go through those things. And that's what we were saying earlier. Like Robin was saying, if it's forced, the mind goes, oh my gosh, scarcity, whatever. If you just do it because there's the whole different, and so mindset, not just, we hear mindset in business.
Yeah.
But, you guys are talking about mindset in relationship to your relationship to food and other things. And people don't talk about that.
Right. Yeah. It's relationship with food and with your body, which we've learned to look outside of us for that expert to tell us. Right. And it's truly a relationship between our awareness of what the body is expressing need for. And it's always going to be so much simpler that way than trying to fit somebody's mold for us. Right. So just to wrap this up, on the insulin conversation, Jennifer addressed the physical pieces there, which are true. And remember that the 3 hormones that we teach about, and again, if you're just hearing us now and you don't know what we're talking about, we have earlier episodes of that, they work together. So your question, when you're saying like, well, if my insulin is used to me doing this a certain amount of time, well, remember that ghrelin is the hormone that's going to cue you for hunger. And that's going to rotate and shift according to the needs of the body that we don't even understand. Like you guys are saying, sometimes I wake up and I know that it's true hunger at 9 a.m. and other days you go to 1 or 2 o'clock until you even feel hungry, right? So that we can trust that hormone to know what it's doing, and the other hormones work in sync with that. So it's not about trying to stay on a certain routine that we're imposing, saying, well, this is what worked for me. It's following the body's cues that their function and their job is to do that. And then we just respond to it. And then just one more little thing I'm going to pick at on the mindset side of it is when you were giving the example, and you're like, and then I didn't get to eat. So then what, you know, with the insulin and stuff, and that's what I want you to catch, all those thoughts that talk about not getting the scarcity thoughts. It's been a long time. I'm finally getting to eat. I had too fast, right? I'm starving. Those things, you're going to want to catch them and correct them and be like, actually, I'm not starving. That means I have no access to food or fuel inside or outside of me, right? Those kinds of things to correct, because that will change the energetics inside, and especially your body, how it'll respond, your brain, right? And so when you approach a fast for lab work and you come home and you have done these things, and on your way home, you say, food is on its way, I'm looking forward to eating, and you correct any of the like starving energy and you correct it, then when you go and eat, you will eat your energy. The way you eat will match the energy you're at. And if you're calm, and if you're in a content place, you're eating. You cannot eat like that when you're calm and content.
Right. Yeah.
Impossible.
Yeah. I mean, that's that stress eating also type thing, you know,
Right.
really different, but you're stressing. So you're just like, eh. And when you're not stressing, you're like, eh. You know, I can skip whatever it is.
Isn't
Yes.
that crazy? It's good
That
that you recognize it. I mean, everybody knows how that is. And it's the same thing. It's still bringing the energy down, and it's meeting the actual need of what's going on.
Right. And that's the thing, is after we have a stress eat in that energy, we look at the thing we're eating and we're like, I don't know how to control myself around that food. And it's like, no, my energy created that kind of eating. Because like you said, you can be eating the very same thing and be in a calm energy, and your behaviors with the food is different. It's not the food driving that, right?
Yeah. So
It's the importance of the energy.
Yeah. And that's so important for people to understand. And we don't understand that.
Mhm.
We just
We're not
don't,
aware.
especially around food, because I mean, cultures, it's all about food. Culture is all about food, and we feel we have to have it. And you know, I mean, we go to Susie's aunt's house, there's always food on the stove. In a lot of cultures, it's like, so would you like something to eat? You know, that's the Italian thing, same thing, you know, and
Brazil.
yeah, see, the cultures are all the same. It's like, oh, sit down and eat. It's like,
It's food. It's
I
food.
just
It's
stopped
food.
by, but that's the communal thing that we still have in us. And so you end up eating even though you don't want to or need to, because one, you don't want to, if you're at someone's house, you don't want them to be rude.
Yep.
So
That's
it kind of all
We
revolves around those
coach
things.
on that a lot. We run into that a lot, where people are worried they're going to offend. My husband is Peruvian, and I think I witnessed that for the first time in my life before we were even married. I was like, we had just eaten dinner at his mom's house. We went to meet his aunt, and she had made him a huge plate of food. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I don't think I can eat. Like, I would have cried. I was over full from his mom's house. And he sat there and ate the whole plate, and he was physically ill when we left. I go,
Oh, yeah,
why
he
did you
was
do
like-
that? He goes, it would have offended her so bad. So since then we've learned how to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a conversation that we need to have soon, is on the social cultural.
I've written a
Influences on
few
you.
topics down just from this.
Good. Yeah.
Well, there
You're
you go.
giving us
Hey,
good
that's
ones.
good. No, but I mean, everything you're saying, Robin and Jennifer, I mean, it's true. And when you take time to think about it, it's like, yeah, it's true. And, you know, I kind of equated to Susie a little bit, because she has a really high metabolism like her dad. So she, over the years, we've learned she needs to eat about every 4 hours, because we went to Europe for 2 weeks and we bought 2 big things of oatmeal, the quick bars, the little bars that you can get. And we always had them with us because we were traveling and you don't know when you're going to eat. And if she gets a food migraine, she's out like for 5 days.
Yeah.
And that's her. So I don't have to match her eating style.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because, you know, so I'm always aware. It's like, okay, sometimes when we leave the house, it's like, you know, where are we going? How long are we going to be? Do we take something or do we have her eat something before we leave? But that is, we know that because that's how her body functions. And the more we learn about how her body functions, then we can like project in the future, you know,
Be
do I need to
prepared
eat
for
now?
what.
Do I need to take something with me? And so, I mean, she's that way today. She gets home at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning after having breakfast. She's starving, you know, and so she'll eat. I'll just sit there and be with her. And then, you know, because I do realize I don't need to match her schedule.
Yeah.
And that's an important mindset thing, because couples literally, quote unquote, feed off each other, right?
Yes.
Oh, if you're gonna eat, I'm gonna eat with you, and because I don't want you to be eating by yourself. And it's like you said, it's a communal thing. Just sit there and talk to them, drink some water.
Right.
You just don't sit in the other room watching football. Well, maybe football, some other things while they're. No, but it's good. You know, the removal of words from your vocabulary is a very powerful act as you learn to eliminate them. Because I eliminate words like just. It's like, hey, Jennifer, I just wanted to call you, which donates. I didn't really have anything else to do. So I was like, take that word out, you know, but it's like you saying, eliminate starving and some of these other words. I mean, it's very powerful when you take those words out of your vocabulary, because then your mind, like you said, your mindset changes.
Right. And your body it's your servant. It responds. So if you tell it I'm starving, it's like, awesome. We're ready.
Yeah.
Right. We're ready to take care of you when food comes. And that's why the body's always responding to our thoughts. So
yeah.
Yep.
Good. You're on your way. It's
Awesome. Keep us posted.
Oh yeah, I will.
Yes.
This has been fun. Live coaching is always fun. You know,
It is fun.
You get the dog in the view and all these
I
other
know.
things.
Oh my gosh.
That's okay.
She was not having it.
I love
She's
it.
like, I have got to go to the bathroom right now. Luckily, he got my message and took her out. Well, it's so funny because I think we'll probably do more podcasts where we have live coaching, but just as a little spoiler alert for everybody, probably in the next 2 to 4 weeks, Robin, am I aiming right there?
I think I know what you're talking about.
We are going to be, I'm going to give you a little bit more. Can I give them a little bit more information than we normally do?
Yeah.
We are going to be launching a 60-day challenge, and it's going to be all mindset. And it's going to be amazing. And everybody who joins the challenge will be able to join us on Zoom, just like you did, Paul, for coaching calls. So we'll be able to coach everybody. And it will basically be the phase 1 of our program, which is the most important part of our program, because it's all mindset. It doesn't matter how you eat. We're not going to be talking to you about what you're eating. We're going to be talking to you about mindset and coaching you on that, because mindset, oh, wait, I'm going to say it wrong. Nutrition and exercise without mindset will be a diet for you. And so we are going to be starting this. We're super excited, but the very, very, very best part, do you want to tell them the price? There is not anybody here, I believe, that could not do this with us.
Yeah. $1 a day, $60 mindset 60 challenge. 60.
For 2 months, $60. And you will walk away, or it will change you. And so be looking for that. We haven't really started marketing yet. We're just wrapping up all the final touches to the program because we want it to go smooth with no hiccups as far as the technical part goes. We know we got the program down. It's the technical.
It's the back end. Yeah.
I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, that sounds exciting.
It'll be great.
Be awesome.
But thank you for reaching out and thank you for coming on as our guest today. I think a lot of people will benefit from this. I know that everybody on some level will relate to many of the things that we talked about today.
Yeah.
And
well,
we
and
really
I
appreciate
appreciate both of you, and a little more Jennifer, because I know her more, that people, like you said, should feel free to reach out to you. I mean, you're so,
Yes.
you've been doing this so long and you've given so much to the community, and you're still willing, and Robin is too, but you know, I have your number, so it's just like,
Yeah.
it's easier, right?
Yeah. And you guys, you can reach us through Messenger. You can reach us through comments on the page, like all these different ways. So just reach out, and we are the ones reading the messages. We will respond.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, you know, and I felt comfortable to say, oh yeah, I know Jennifer, I'm just gonna ask her. It's like,
Yeah.
we don't need to be afraid, because just for the audience, you know, we're all in transition with, I was thinking my words, right, Robin?
Yes, good.
I didn't say struggle. I was thinking transition, right? Change your word.
Absolutely.
with the power of food, or I mean, because that's what it is, because like you said, it's so ready available. You go down the road and it's like everywhere. You know? And it's just like, and like you said, you know, I've really concentrated on coming home from events like the doctor thing, and eating what's at home, and not swinging by Whataburger, which is one of my favorite places, and you know, getting more than you should eat, and that Coke that goes with it, right, to wash it down. But we're all there. None of us are different,
Right.
you know, and so we have to, as people that trust, to trust you guys, because we're here for you guys, and you're here for us to help us work with our mindset, along with the food and the exercise. So
Yep. We all work together, and we need each other. Synergy.
oh yeah. And so when you guys are gonna have like your first cruise for the group?
Ooh. Hey, don't tease me with that. That's my favorite way to travel, and it could be happening. It could be happening down the line, some retreats or something.
Oh
For
my gosh,
sure.
that was so fun with you guys. 300 of us. Oh my gosh.
All right.
All right.
So thank you so much, Paul. Very valuable
Thanks.
to
I
everyone.
appreciate you asking me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I will be talking to you soon. Reach out. Keep us posted.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Bye.
Bye.